Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Faith Over Fear podcast. I have Money Madu with me. Introduce yourself and what you do to everybody.
I am Money Madu. I am a mortgage loan originator here in Houston, Texas. I'm able to do loans pretty much anywhere in the United States if it's an investment property, but I'm licensed in Texas and able to do loans in Florida as well. I'm an entrepreneur, investor. We're in one of our spots now, but just mortgages, loans, anything within real estate is what I love doing.
He's lying to you. He does a lot. He's an entrepreneur. He's selling himself short. And let me tell you, ladies, he is a go-getter and very spiritual as well. And I respect him a lot in this industry. I've watched him grow and I've watched him flourish as a loan originator. And I'm very excited to have him on here and to speak. He's going to be our first loan officer speaking on the podcast. So it's very important to me to support friends. So I want to break a little myth that a lot of people have when it comes to buying a home and kind of like diving into the top, kind of like 2 myths that I think I would say. A lot of people think they're going to have to save like 20% down. And I want to let millennials, let anyone that's watching that's interested in buying a home, how to go about that myth and also what is really required, kind of clear up that scenario for them.
Yeah, so it's definitely a myth. You don't need 20% down to buy a home. If you are in the military or, if you're buying in a rural area, it could be as low as 0% down. All you have to bring to the table is closing costs unless you're able to get seller's credit, right? But for normal first-time home buyers, you're looking at 3%, 3.5%, depending on if you're going with a conventional loan or an FHA loan. So definitely don't need 20% down. So I think really that myth comes from, you still have to pay like mortgage insurance.
Correct.
When you're with a conventional loan and around that 20% range, it drops off,
Right.
But you don't have to put 20% down.
Thank you. Because a lot of people come up and I know they probably tell you, oh my God, I don't have enough savings. And they think that what they have in their head as savings is not really what you would require or need, especially with a lot of programs that are provided for everyone. I love that you also touched the subject of FHA and conventional. So those are 2 type of government loans issued, correct?
Right. Yeah, so with FHA, it's a government-backed loan. So pretty much the FHA is securing the people who are lending out the note. So whenever you buy a note, they're securing it, and that's why it's a little bit more costly as far as like fees go. But it allows you to, one, obviously put a little bit money down, but at the same time, you're also able to qualify for more of a home. So it's a really good scenario versus conventional where you have to have a 620 credit score. And if you don't have that and your DTI, if your DTI is over 50%, then you're kind of SOL.
Yeah.
But back to FHA, 580. Well, actually, you can go down to 500. You don't really want to be in there, but 580 is typically the lowest we go with FHA. And then, conventional, we're at 620.
That's good. So anyone that has around that price, that credit score, not price range, let Madu help you. And I'm glad you touched that because a lot of people are scared to even check their credit score to see where they're at. And so he is able to actually pull that for you and verify your debt to income, which is the DTI that he just explained. And he's able to let you know how much you qualify based on that with his calculator. So they take into consideration the monthly interest, how much the home is, and they'll let you know what you're pre-approved for. So it's very important when they're finding a home that they also figure out what purchase price they can be in and make it ideal to where their monthly payments. Because I know some people want a $500,000 house, so
They
the mortgage payment.
They don't have the money for a $500,000 house.
Yeah,
or anything like that.
I don't want you going into foreclosure, sweetie,
Yeah.
But where can they go ahead and apply if they do want to try to get pre-approved?
So if you're trying to get pre-approved with me and my team, you can go to yougotpreapproved.com and we're able to.
I like that one.
Branding
You
very
jumped
important.
on that.
yougotpreapproved.com and someone on my team will be able to help you. We are able to, again, pretty much work with any kind of loans. We are a mortgage broker, so we're able to work with different types of lenders versus like if you were to go with a bank and if you're not the most perfect borrower, they might,
I would
deny
never suggest someone to go to the bank. It's like a 45 to 60 day closing, and
Right.
boy, do they take their time because
Right.
they just hire anyone to
Right.
originate.
So yeah, so again, a bank is very, very strict with us. We're able to work with different type of lenders, even if again you have like a credit score of a 580 or a 620, whatever the case is. We're able to help you out. So working with us, we're pretty much on call 24/7. In the middle of the night, we're answering our phone calls. So you definitely want to work with us. Communication is very important to us, and yeah, you got preapproved.com, and we'll get you sorted out.
So how did you go about, like, you're very transparent in that aspect of helping people get pre-approved. What would you say is one of the biggest obstacles you're seeing right now with people in regards to getting you docs or sending you the right thing? What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I would honestly go to my YouTube channel. I'm actually making a lot of
Yes!
content.
I support it.
I'm making a lot of content in regards to letting people understand what is required. So typically for most people, what we need is your last 2 pay stubs, your last 2 years W-2s, your last 2 months bank statements. If you're self-employed, your last 2 years tax returns, right? And so a lot of people, they like to send like screenshots, like pictures. No, we need that as a PDF document. Because
thank you. Clear that up, because the underwriter is going to be like, sir, what is this?
If you send that in initially, I might be able to work some numbers, but officially I will need those documents as a PDF form so that everything will go smoothly. So if you're able to kind of like give us those documentation, we'll be able to find out exactly what you're pre-approved for, so that when you're working with a realtor, there's no issue with, oh, I'm pre-approved for 500,000. I don't know if I'm going to get approved on the back end. Like, no, if you give us that information, we know for sure
right
that
away.
you're pre-approved.
And it makes it quicker for them to actually close,
Absolutely.
correct?
Absolutely.
So they're already getting conditionally approved at the same time.
We've gone as low as 3 days sometimes. 3 days, 2 weeks.
Miracle workers.
So, but that's if you're like super, super qualified.
Yeah, I'm talking about 800 credit score. You've reported correctly, and your pay stubs are amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what would you say has been one of your hardest clients? And you don't have to mention names, but like a story, because I know some people might be interested in becoming a loan originator. They can reach out to you, or also getting a home. So what would say is a story? I always like asking people their most difficult story. I did that on the last podcast, and it was amazing to hear their comments.
I will say, honestly, I had a situation where someone was actually pretty qualified. She had the funds to close on a home, but unfortunately, she was on leave. And so in that leave time frame, she actually ended up losing her job.
Oh my God.
And so we weren't able to close, even though we were literally at the finish line.
I know, and that's what people don't understand, is like there's situations and circumstances that one can't foresee or help with. So it's important to be very transparent with your loan officer. They're going to be able to see everything and recommend things for you to do. I mean, I'm pretty sure he could see and tell you, hey, do this instead of this, to get you prepared.
We are like your pastor, we're here to help you.
We're walking you towards the light.
A lot of people, they think that if they don't tell us, certain information, maybe it'll pass by. We need to know all the information so we know how to navigate and get you closed. And so if you don't let us know what's going on, then it's hard for us to do our job correctly.
So I know you've been an entrepreneur. I know you've done flips as well. So what is the difference between the career path you've taken now as far as loan originating? Like, what inspired you? What made you take that leap of faith and kind of go? Because I talk about faith a lot, and I'm glad that you went out on your own and started doing something on your own. So what inspired you to kind of take that route? And if you can inspire anybody else who's looking for a career change.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I mean, originally I was an engineer, right? So I was already making good money.
You started, right? Yeah, you're making money.
I was already making good money, but for me, I know that at a certain point you're kind of like tapped. You're capped. Yeah, capped. I don't know. You're capped. And so for that, real estate has been something I've always been in. I've been in it. Bought my first house 2014, but it was a situation. I was at my friend's house one day, and he owns the mortgage brokerage that I'm at, Top Choice Lending. And he showed me one of the checks, and I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get my license. So 2 weeks later, was able to get my loan origination license, and it gives me an opportunity so when I'm out and about and I'm networking or whatever the case is, instead of saying I'm an investor, which doesn't really help anybody.
Yeah.
I can be like, I'm a loan originator. I can help you or anyone that you know that's buying a house get approved.
Get approved.
And so I feel like that's a nice little vertical integration to some of the stuff that I've already been doing. And yeah, it's just a situation where I enjoy this a lot. It doesn't feel like work, even though it's very stressful. It's like if things are stressful and it still works, yeah, it's 24/7, but it's definitely worthwhile.
Because you've always been, when you left engineering, a business owner, and I know you've partaken in Airbnb and flipping and been very successful in your ventures. So I'm excited to see kind of where you go as far as lending, because I see you grow and grow more. So I'm excited to see the growth in both you and Ken and how y'all take Top Choice to the next level, because it's already on the map for Houston, and now y'all are investing as well in a club. So we're here at Jolie, right?
Here at Jolie.
We're here at Jolie,
Always
and
pretty.
Tell me about that venture. And I'm interested because it's something different. Like, it's something I would have never seen you do, but here we are.
So, I mean, it was just a great opportunity. It was a situation where we kind of like always wanted to get into clubs, but the opportunities that presented themselves in the past never really panned out. And so whenever Ken got the call about this place, it was just like, hey,
Let's
hit
go.
the ground running. And so he invited me to get, a little bit of ownership in it. And from there, we were just very excited. We have the personality for it. This is something that we think that would allow us to get to that next level. And it's just the beginning. So
I know I'm excited. And guys, this is in the heart of Houston.
506 Main Street.
There we go. I'm looking at the train. My ADD self is like getting distracted with everyone. But I'm excited for y'all, and I know y'all had a opening, so I want to invite anyone that's out here in Houston or that's visiting to come visit them and come check out Jolie. On top of doing all that, I also know you're a very spiritual man, and you're into healing, and on my podcast, I also want to emphasize on masculine healing and how the men are changing the prerogative in nowadays stories, and they're becoming more sourceful in their journeys, So if you can inspire any men watching, which is important to me, because I don't want just to be feminine, like I'm into men healing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, part of that journey comes through whenever I did leave engineering, right? And so I decided to do things that makes me happy, right? So I chose happiness over everything. And so, obviously in the society, everything's about money, and you're so stressed out about having to make money, but
you're never present.
So you sometimes you're not happy doing that. And for me, it's like, well, we have a short time in this world. Why not do things that make you happy? Even if you struggle in the beginning, overall, you should be fine at the end, right?
Correct.
So, yeah.
So that's important to you. I want to ask you, I know people are different, like throughout the day, when would you say you're the most creative?
Oh.
Or what are your time slots? Because I know during periods in my time where in the morning I take for my social media, because I know that's what I'm going to do right away. How would you help time manage is I guess my best question.
I'll probably say the evening time is when I'm most creative, but I almost feel like I'm working all the time. So
correct. No, same.
Whenever
but
I have
like,
the
when you
juices,
get those creative juices, it's like you'll have those moments.
I would probably say evening, because I'm already kind of, well, it's a mixture. But yeah, evening.
I was going to say evening, because usually you were up always making
working.
the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So tell me about that journey, because I just started mine too. So how has it been overcoming, I get nervous sometimes in front of the camera, being able to put out in those platforms your videos, and being able to slowly, you're building your brand and your name.
Absolutely.
How has that journey been for you?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I wanted to really just brand myself as a mortgage loan originator, just because, like you said, I've done so many different things that if I ask 10 people what I do, I'm gonna get 10 different answers. So
correct.
I wanna lower it down to where it's like, okay, when you think about money, you're talking about
the lending.
And so yeah, with YouTube, I mean, I'm not shy about getting the camera, but at the same time, you have to just put out the content regardless. Not care what other people think, because obviously you're gonna have people that have like their feedback and their backlash, but at the same time, there are other people that are looking for your help. They're looking to you to really explain some of the things that they understand. So for me, it's just like niching down and just giving out the knowledge that I do have, because I do have a lot of knowledge and a lot of things. So might as well do it in something that will be on a platform that's in a sense forever, right? So you make that one video, if it goes viral, then it's gonna stay viral. People are
And
always
people
gonna
are gonna
search for
always
it.
gonna search for it and
Absolutely.
see it. And I like that it's different because you're educating. And I think when you educate people, you're leaving something with them that always makes them remember, hey, I learned that from so and so, you know?
Absolutely.
So I think the more you educate people around you, they're gonna be more lenient to using you. And so that involves my next question. You market a lot. What would say are some tools, or what are your top apps that you use for marketing for anyone that is a business owner, is out there? What do you use to become successful?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you use things like Canva, right, to
Okay.
kind of like put a lot
You'd be
of
surprised. A lot of people just heard about it recently
Really?
this year.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you touched that
yeah,
subject.
Canva for sure, because that's just like Adobe Photoshop in your pocket.
Correct.
In a
I love
sense.
it. I make my business cards
yeah,
on
you
there,
can
my
literally
email
make anything.
signature,
Yeah.
flyers, Instagram posts, anything. You can post from there too. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Whoever's not using it as a business owner is doing harm to
Absolutely.
themselves.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, Canva to really just make a lot of content, you know, and just utilizing a lot of these social media platforms, so like the Instagrams, the TikToks, the Facebooks. Like sometimes, you know, you might not get like the engagement that you're looking for, but you just have to post and just be consistent with it. So even if
Hit
it's
it,
not
consistency.
yeah,
That's what people give up on.
Even if a lot of people don't really see it or whatever the case is, there's one or two people that are looking, and you never know. So if you're consistent with it, and then all of a sudden you're getting these random brand deals, you know, and things of that nature. And just whenever you see people out in public, they're like, oh, I remember you, and you know the content that you did to help change me and my family's trajectory. So yeah, just I would use Canva a lot, right? And then just being consistent with posting on a lot of also too, make sure you get an email list, especially if you are a business owner. An email list is very important, making sure that you cater to the email list and keeping them engaged, because those are going to be your real buyers, your true buyers that will stick up for you and just allow you to continue to make money. So
I like
email
that.
list is
So
very
it's like
important.
a CRM. You
Yeah.
want to make sure that you're keeping.
Funnel everybody from your social media to your own platform, whether that's your own website or for sure email list.
Email list is important because people be surprised how much that gets exposure. I mean, I see the ones of we buy houses and I'm clicking them just to see if it's a good deal. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, and I know you mentioned you bought your first house. So walk us through that first step. How did it feel for anyone that's nervous, that hasn't taken that faith step yet, but should get over their fear and do it already?
Yeah, so 2014, I bought my first house. I was living out in West Texas, Sweetwater, Texas in particular. And, you know,
Country boy.
yeah, houses out there were very cheap,
Yeah.
like very cheap. But I didn't really understand the process. I'll tell you, like, I actually saw the house on Craigslist for 60,000, or no, sorry, 68 or 65,000.
That's unheard of nowadays.
Right, and this 2014, and so I'm over here negotiating. I was like, I'll buy it for 60,000, just because it sounded like a good number. I didn't understand running numbers or anything like that. I was just like 60,000, and they agreed. And so we're going through the process, and you know, my lender was Bank of America at the time. Whenever we did the appraisal, it actually came back at 58.5, and so I'm going back to the buyer. I was like, well, I'm not about to bring the difference.
Yeah.
And so we came down to 58.5, and now
So you're already a natural born negotiator, built in.
So I was able to buy the house 58.5. You know, I didn't understand the closing costs or anything like that. I just thought I just had to have the down payment. But yeah, luckily I had enough money saved up to continue to close. But yeah, once I closed, you know, a few months later, I got a job opportunity back in the Houston area, and that's when I was able to really understand investing, because I was able to rent the house out.
Rent it good.
And for the last 8 years, I haven't been back, but been collecting a paycheck.
Oh, I like that. So
from
by
there,
now,
So from
and
there,
what was the interest rate back then?
I think for me, I closed at like a 3.75 or something like that, or 3.75.
But let's let people know. Do not get scared of interest rates, right? Don't let fear make you not get that interest rate, because you're not married to it.
Yeah.
Explain it to
No,
them.
absolutely. So, I mean, with the interest rates, it's a situation where you just got to buy right. Like my whole philosophy is buying right, even if interest rates are 10%, 8%, whatever the case is. As long as you buy right and the numbers make sense, then go ahead. I'm a person, especially if it's one of your first homes, buy a house that you'll be able to rent out afterward. Like
Correct.
if you
Because it's
if
not
you
your
have
forever home.
right, exactly. Like get something that you can rent out if you do have to leave for a job opportunity or whatever the case is, and now you're in a sense building your rental portfolio that way. You know, and also you can always refinance, right? But also remember, you know, with refinancing, as long as your equity is around that 20% mark, you might be looking at bringing money to the closing table. So I know a lot of people say marry the house, date the rate, or whatever the case is, but it's very situational. But refinancing is always an option, especially if there is equity in the home.
Correct. So if you get it for a good price and you get it below value, you're doing a good job. And that's where your realtor skills come in handy to make sure you negotiate the deals correctly and get your client taken care of.
Having a great realtor, the one that really knows how to negotiate, will save you a lot of money.
We'll make or break the deal, and we'll have
absolutely.
a whole conversation about that because I know as a lender you deal with a lot of realtors that should be educated a little bit more on the process.
That's why I kind of say like it's preferable if you work with a realtor that might have already purchased properties because they understand the process of what's going on.
Correct. They've been on the buyer side to actually understand it. And I think it's important too that you know that your team is your best asset. So if you're looking to buy a home and you're already in the process of finding a realtor, finding a lender, make sure it's someone that cares about your best interests, that is knowledgeable, that is trying to put you in a position to win and make sure that you're taken care of. Because like you said earlier, money is not an objective. You do this because of happiness. So make sure someone is actually loving what they do.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out here, especially nowadays with interest rates the way they are, that they're at a point where they're going to say anything to bring you in the door as a client, and then hit you with the bait and switch whenever it's time to close with higher fees, higher costs, just because they quoted you at a lower rate just to kind of like bring you in. So also be aware of that. Always get a second opinion on some of your loan estimates so that you are in good shape.
Okay, and I know I want to get a little personal now. Okay, so are you single?
I am.
Okay, you know that's gonna be my header on there because people are gonna be DMing me and asking me. And why? Okay, you're on your healing journey. What is it that I always want to ask people on a personal? What is it that you're looking for in a partner? What is it that you're in alignment with? Because I've always heard the woman's side, and I think a lot of women that I have that follow me would like to hear from a man's side. Like, what is it that is being looked for nowadays? Because I know you idolize something different than the norm, so I want to let women know that there's different kind of men out there, and there's healed men that are actually working very hard and have businesses and are doing things the right way.
Yeah, so
I had to applaud you because I know you, so I had to applaud you for that.
Thank you. As far as like what I look for in a woman, it's just really having true core values that you'll be able to pass down to our children. And so, you know, for a lot of people, they might say that they have a certain amount of values, but their actions say differently. You know, values is very, very important to me. You know, the decision making of how they operate, do different things is very important to me. And then being able to make your own money. Like, say, for example, God forbid.
Oh, thank God you said that because I'm tired of the men that want to save every woman. Like, please, like, the independent woman wants saving too.
Well, yeah. I mean, but the thing is also, too, is just like, God forbid a situation happens where I have to pass away and we have a family, like we have kids and stuff. I mean, there's some women out there that they've been taken care of their whole life that they don't know how to generate income.
Correct.
And
so what happens then?
Exactly. So I need you to be in a position where, obviously, you know, I'm gonna try to set everything up, but yeah, absolutely. You can't just be nothing. Like I need you to.
And what is your sign?
Scorpio.
Okay, you knew that one was coming.
Absolutely.
I'm a spiritual girl, so I have to ask that on the podcast. Okay, so I know you're big on core values. I know you're big on that. Can you let everyone know kind of what has been one of your challenges as a man keeping your values in the way society now is driven?
I don't think I really have a trouble with that. I just stick to what I know, and obviously that might offend certain people or turn certain people off, but I mean, for me, it's, again, I choose happiness, so I'm sticking to what I know, and the right person at the right time will come along and, in a sense, kind of like fit right in, right? So
I like that because I have sons, so if I can inspire any young man or any young man that watches your videos or that listens to you, that knows that there's different options out there. And I think without you knowing, you might inspire a lot of men in your circle. And I think it's very important to praise men that are on their journeys and that are doing the right things, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of lost souls in this world, and if we could bring a little bit of light into them, and in every podcast I give back to every nonprofit. So I really want to know after this what nonprofit you would like to give back to, so that we can announce it then. Take some time to think about it. Yeah. Let me know in the comment, and then we're gonna attach it to the podcast, because I do always like to give back to the community, and I know you do too.
Absolutely.
I've seen you.
Kids, I love kids. So like, I mean, there's gonna be a situation here soon that I plan to kind of like go into a lot of different schools where just kind of like teaching about mindset and stuff like that, because sometimes adults are they're already set in their ways, but kids, they're still impressionable. So being able to instill great core values and just the right type of mindset can go a long way.
I think that's important, and I think that's something we really need to pay attention to is in our youth, is like of men of value, like praising them more and giving them more attention and the attention they need. When I see society going down a route I don't want my kids to go down.
Man, you're supposed to be leaders, so continue to be leaders. Don't try to. Society is trying to change stuff a bit, but stay traditional in that way. Be leaders. Do what you have to do to, provide and protect people in your circle.
And I think men in their masculine energy that are those protectors and those healers. Those are the ones that you see that are paving the way and are becoming more successful, because I do see a turn coming now to where it's time for the healed to be recognized and to be acknowledged. And I think what you're doing and the fact that you're going to be able to go into schools and talk into these men that are lost and be that light for them is important, because you don't know. And I don't think anyone realizes that if you live life without a purpose, you're going to forever feel lost. Yeah. So when you do things with a purpose, like you kept mentioning happiness, he has a purpose. His purpose is to maintain happy and do something that makes him fulfilled. So if you're not loving what you do, are you even really, like, what are you doing, If it has to feel like a job, I don't think that's something you should stay in. And I'm happy to see you now in a place where you're flourishing and you're so excited. And I just see you coming up with these ideas, and his Instagram, if you don't know, let them know what it is so they could raise your followers, because he has an amazing view.
Yeah, it's Money Madu, MonyMadu.
Okay. And then I always like to ask, what is a quote that kind of inspired you or that changed your mind?
The one that actually pops into my head is probably not the right type of quote.
Yes.
But
there's no wrong one.
Yeah. I would say just being true to yourself. Just being true to yourself and understanding that, there's going to be a lot of opinions that are trying to shape or change your mind. But if you know who you are, then you should never waver.
I love that. Okay, so staying true to yourself. I love that one. And now I want everyone to stay true to yourself. I want you to make sure you follow Madu. And what are the best nights they can find you at Jolie right now?
So we're open every day now, pretty much reverse happy hours from like 6 to midnight. And then on the weekends from 10 to 2 a.m.
Okay, so find him here at Jolie and also at Money Madu. Make sure you get pre-approved.
You got preapproval.com.
I love that. I was waiting for you to do the little signature sign off. Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And this is our snippet, how to get approved for your first home or an investment home. Let's get you taken care of, and let's make sure that we break all these curses and become generationally wealthy, okay?
Absolutely.
Signing out. We're at Jolie. Thank you.